The latest on the mystery surrounding Prince's death. The U.S. Attorney's Office and DEA are now joining the investigation as we learn more about a California doctor who says he was called to help the superstar with an addiction problem. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has the story.
Being run by musicians, so it's being run by accountants and lawyers. So I don't know if they'd know real music if they heard it. What they're looking for is acts that are going to make the most money for them. So you'll see all kinds of little gimmicks, so to speak. Nothing else to prove. I feel like the greatest performer that I could have been, and people who love me feel that I was the greatest performer they'd ever seen, so there's nothing left to prove.
At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out, and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again.
Given what Prince revealed about the music industry, many have wondered if there was a connection between him and Diddy. According to some reports, there was a peculiar relationship of sorts. Prince was battling against record companies for engaging in practices similar to those Diddy had reportedly benefited from for years, profiting off artists without paying them fairly and blacklisting those who spoke out. This was partly due to an agreement Diddy had with Warner Brothers.
It became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise. And they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer. But it's not like we're against them or anything like that. The idea is that we find better ways of working with one another. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship.
Prince reportedly had doubts about Diddy's intentions with the free calls, so he offered his mansion for Diddy's parties, but chose never to attend himself.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
Prince's estate was reportedly involved in a legal dispute with Jay-Z, a close associate of Diddy. Prior to this lawsuit, Jay-Z was accused of unlawfully sharing Prince's music on Tidal. Record companies like Warner, along with Prince, had long attempted to expose these types of industry practices, but those who confront figures like Diddy and Jay-Z often face significant backlash. With the recent controversies surrounding Diddy, things are expected to intensify. Throughout his career, Prince fought against corporations that he felt undermined his ownership and control of his music, and many believe he ultimately paid a heavy price for this stance. Some fans suspect that Warner Brothers may have played a role in his struggles. For context, Prince signed a record deal with Warner Music in 1977 at the age of 18, as Warner saw him as a long-term talent. Despite initial albums underperforming, Prince recorded more music in 1982, a year after MTV's launch, which led to his first top 10 U.S. hit. He joined a new generation of artists who recognized the power of music videos as a tool for creating their brand and image. By 1984, with the release of Purple Rain, he had become one of the biggest music stars in the world, and his fans began imitating his style. As Prince's popularity grew, he launched his own label, Paisley Park Records, with funding and distribution from Warner. But he soon began to demand his rights after realizing he wasn't receiving fair compensation. Prince likely believed that requesting to leave Warner would be straightforward, but that wasn't the case. Warner Brothers resisted his demands, leading to a public battle over finances and ownership of his music. Ahead of the release of The Gold Experience, Prince intensified the dispute by appearing with the word slave written on his face, highlighting his frustrations with Warner's control over his identity and music. Prince even changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol, becoming known as the artist formerly known as Prince. Over time, his battle with Warner escalated, and in a 1999 interview, he openly expressed his intention to buy back his masters, saying, "I wanted to buy my masters back from Warner Brothers. They said no, so I'll re-record them all. You can then choose between 2 catalogs, but my version will be superior." In interviews, award shows, and other events, Prince repeatedly criticized how record labels controlled him and other artists.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. Peace and love for one another.
Prince took his business principles seriously, so much so that in 2007, he declared he would sue YouTube, eBay, and the Pirate Bay for using his music without authorization, aiming to reclaim his online reputation. Eventually, Prince managed to regain control over his identity and reached an agreement of sorts with Warner. Tragically, however, he passed away shortly after under suspicious circumstances. Prince was 57 when he was found unresponsive at his Minnesota home. Reports revealed he had unknowingly taken counterfeit medication laced with a potent synthetic opioid, and health experts concluded his death was due to an accidental fentanyl overdose. Strangely, he was found in the elevator he had once called the devil.
The thing that, kind of spooked me about it all was he has a song called Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah.
And it says, "Don't let the elevator bring us down." One time when I was with him privately, he said, "You know what the elevator is, right?"
No.
I said, "No, what's the elevator?" He said, "Well, the elevator is the devil." Right? It scared me. I don't like to talk like that, but he said that. And so for me, it was like really haunting when I read that he was found in an elevator.
Problems?
That I don't know. Right? What I know is that he was really health conscious. He was a vegan. He didn't abuse alcohol. I didn't know of him abusing drugs. He worked out, so, that also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
Rumors circulated that Prince had been seriously ill in the weeks leading up to his death. He had canceled concerts and even made an emergency landing while en route home, where he reportedly received anti-opiate medication, suggesting severe health issues. However, some questioned why he wasn't under a doctor's care, given that he had allegedly overdosed less than a month prior and appeared visibly unwell. It seemed strange, particularly for someone with ongoing tour dates, that he wasn't receiving medical attention to ensure he could perform without last-minute cancellations, especially at major venues. Prince reportedly believed he was being targeted, much like others who had tried to expose the inner workings of the industry. Shortly before his death, he even posted a now-deleted photo with a cryptic message. In a chilling prediction, he told guests at a Paisley Park party, just days before he passed, to wait a few days before wasting any prayers. After his death, some, including celebrities like Kanye West, suggested there was more to the story. West, in fact, has been compared to a modern-day Prince for advocating similar causes and challenging the system as Prince once did.
Nobody, this ain't independent. Yeezy's the only 100% owned, independent, black owned or whatever. I don't know if it'd be owned after this interview, but you get what I'm saying? Like when we sign something, we don't sign someone. We're signing someone to the bigger Vivendi slave ship, to the bigger universal slave ship. Because y'all saying, all these tweets was crazy. You know why Prince gave me the song Jail? Because he liked what I did. And he's like, I like what you did with them contracts.
You said Prince gave it to you. Right.
Man, he definitely, guess who's going to jail tonight? You know what I'm saying? That Gemini spirit.
People who don't, because he was on that tip.
Yeah.
Just people who don't know, you're talking about Prince.
Yeah, I'm talking
out Prince.
And Prince trying to get away from corporations, disconnect.
Prince with the slave on his cheek.
Yeah, slave on his cheek, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson, bro. This man.
If Prince had emerged in the social media age of the late 1970s and early 1980s, he might be viewed today much like Kanye West. In fact, during an Access Hollywood interview, even Los Angeles Reid mentioned that Kanye is an exceptional artist who has earned admiration, noting that while Kanye is different from Prince, he's not the same type of musician and doesn't play piano or guitar, he's a major figure in hip-hop. Now, turning to Diddy's role, you may recall that Diddy and Warner Music Group signed a joint venture giving Warner a 50% stake in Diddy's Bad Boy Records. This deal meant Warner would manage global distribution for Bad Boy's catalog, both digitally and physically, and handle artists like Maze, Mario Winans, the Notorious B.I.G., and even Diddy himself. Ironically, this setup reflected exactly what Prince had fought against his entire career, record companies controlling artists' rights. Diddy's practices with Bad Boy, often criticized, were reportedly a source of tension between him and Prince. In recent years, Diddy began returning publishing rights to some of his former artists, including Biggie, who signed with Bad Boy in 1993 before any major lawsuits emerged. However, former Bad Boy artists claimed that by this point, Diddy had already profited significantly, and the rights he was returning were nearly worthless.
And it's funny, and then you move on and you like something that he did on TikTok because he's funny. But for people that worked for 6 years of their life and entered an industry where somebody made, what, $48 million? And we didn't even see a penny of that, and we were in thongs and 5-inch heels for years of our lives on stage. And not any of it did we see. And the measly amount of change that MTV paid us, we don't even get to feel any benefit of that because they never brought the show back. And they don't play it in reruns, so we can't even get the hype of, oh, hey, I remember this. They're cult classics. Let me hire her for something. Yeah. Like all of them got, right? Mm-hmm. Jersey Shore kids are making millions of dollars.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
Now let's briefly look at Diddy's former close friend, Jay-Z, and his connection to Prince. Prince once reportedly trusted Jay-Z during his struggles with Warner, believing Jay-Z genuinely cared about artists' interests. This led him to strike a deal with Tidal, Jay-Z's streaming service under Roc Nation. However, in 2016, the Prince estate allowed NPG Records to sue Roc Nation for copyright infringement after Tidal posted 15 Prince albums, claiming they only had a 90-day license for a single, recently released album, Hit and Run. Tidal argued that they had oral and written agreements granting them exclusive rights to stream several Prince albums. NPG, however, alleged that Tidal's documents were backdated and not authentic, and that the agreement with Prince was only for the Hit and Run album. Despite repeated requests, Roc Nation reportedly failed to produce evidence of additional agreements or rights to the broader catalog. Many have drawn parallels between Diddy and Jay-Z's handling of artist rights, speculating that Prince's warnings about the music industry may have referenced both of them. Reflecting on all Prince tried to reveal about the industry, some believe that his determination to expose its practices contributed to his untimely death. What are your thoughts? Do you think Prince's battles with the industry ultimately led to his premature passing? Share your comments below.